Welcome, everyone. My name is Gibran. I'm a facilitator, and I've been hosting a podcast for a while now. And today is my first experiment with video. The point of all of this media is to introduce you to the remarkable people that I get to spend my days with. These are people who are, in my estimation, at the leading edge of the evolution of consciousness and culture. And today I am blessed, privileged to introduce you to my wife, Samantha Tan. And Samantha is a remarkable woman. She is a great mother, an awesome wife, and she's an executive coach to women, women that are operating at pretty high levels in big corporations. And I love how she balances that role with also being a circle holder. And a lot of the work that she does there is also focused on women. But I think it takes a pretty different feel than the coaching work that she does. And we'll hear more about that. I am excited to introduce you to her. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you. Thank you, Gibran.
How's that? Is that a fair introduction? Is there anything else
I love it.
you would say?
I love it. You could carry on, but that's wonderful. Thank you.
I wanted to start the conversation today by talking about pleasure. And the reason why I bring that up is for many reasons. Is that I know it's something that you have been working on, concerning yourself with, bringing forward in the world for a long time.
Mhm.
What I find interesting as somebody that's been on the kind of witnessing side of it all is that I met you around the same time that I was becoming friends with Adrienne Marie Brown and with Favianna Rodriguez. And what I was thinking about before doing this recording is that these are three women of color, all of you approaching pleasure from a different angle, but concerned with the same thing. So Adrienne recently released a book called Pleasure Activism.
Mm-hmm.
And Favianna has been on the leading edge of this work for a long time, talking about polyamory, talking about sex positivity. And in fact, just last week, we put up one of her pieces of art in our own living room called Pussy Power, actually. And so there's this momentum, there's this energy of women, and in my witnessing right now, specifically women of color, stepping into this. And I just wanted people to have a chance to hear how you come at it. Why pleasure? How do you end up on this journey?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. I would love to share that, but before I do, as you mentioned Adrienne and Favianna's name, I was listening to a podcast you sent me of Adrienne and Amita yesterday. And as I was listening to it, I felt so many emotions come up inside my body and a kind of expansion and feeling that's actually uncomfortable. And what I want to say from the outset is we're exploring a new territory, a richer sense of what pleasure is, because everyone has their ideas of what pleasure is. But one thing that has been so critical for me is that reaching for pleasure and expanding into pleasure can actually be uncomfortable and vulnerable. And that really is an essential part of the movement. It's sort of the part of pleasure. We're sort of expanding our and deepening our understanding of pleasure because our world has latched on to certain ideas of pleasure already. And it's taking us in some positive and some not so positive directions. And so, I see myself together with Adrienne and Favianna and many, many other women in a movement to really be in right relationship. There's a lot of talk now of being in right relationship with the earth, the masculine, the feminine. So be in right relationship with pleasure. And then the other thing you said, and I will answer your question, is so that when you met me that I was, or rather that we're striving for pleasure. And that again is sort of another facet of pleasure. Many people associate things like pleasure or play or even connection as something that should happen naturally. But in this day and age where so many of our structures and systems and narratives have been kind of pulled out of their natural alignment, we actually have to strive for pleasure. We have to
Hmm.
strive to play. We have to strive for ease, if that makes any sense at all. So I really thank you for even for that introduction and what it evoked. Um, to answer your question, how did this all start? It started with my mother.
Hmm.
I had the privilege, the profound privilege of having a Chinese mother tell me, Samantha, you know, in life, two things she taught me. When you make important choices, um, try your best to make them out of love, not fear.
Wow.
Yeah, she taught me that, especially when they're important, because when they're important, the fear becomes quite overpowering.
Hmm.
And the second thing she taught me was be happy. Be happy. And she's a woman who had, you know, not the easiest life. Her first husband died when she had three children, died of cancer when she had three children after below 8. And then she married my father, who was a little troublesome, troublesome man. And they separated when I was 3. But I witnessed her all through that time striving to enjoy herself, striving for pleasure. And I really learned it. I learned that from her.